is good, everyone? How are you all doing? I hope you all are doing well. I hope your fantasy football teams did well. Hopefully, they didn't lose on a last second Hail Mary like my favorite football team did. So, hopefully, it didn't come down to the last play with you. Hopefully, you don't need a guy to perform and score big here on Monday Night Football, because there really hasn't been much scoring unless it's been the field goal kickers that you've had. But with all that being said, thank you for joining us. Please hit that like button. Today, we do have a substitute teacher, Tilter. Some of you guys may be familiar with the special guest that we're bringing back tonight. Due to the fact that me and my typical co-host, Mouth, were playing against each other, not in one league, but in two leagues this week, I didn't really feel appropriate to have him on tonight's show. I needed to get a replacement because I really just didn't want to see him. And the whole show would just be shit talking between me and him, saying his team sucks, no, my team sucks, and blah, blah, blah. So I decided to get a substitute in here. We have Coach James from The Tilt is Real. He has a podcast with Mr. Swanson and Juan as well. The three of them every Sunday before kickoff get together, answer all your start-sit questions. So if you ever need help setting your lineup because of injuries or a bye week, or you just have such a good lineup you can't even decide, who to play and who not to play, go ahead and check out those guys, and they will steer you in the right direction. So now that all that's out of the way, let's go ahead and kick it off with the show. And we are back. Thank you guys again for joining us. This is the Chicago Clubhouse Network. I am your boy, the guy that everyone loves to hate, the Crooked Commish here. If you guys have any questions about injury has hit in your teams, which player to go after, please drop them in the comments. Chef James is here with the Tilt is Real to help me out and help you guys out, more importantly, on who to pick up, who not to pick up. If you guys want an early head start on setting your lineup, he's definitely an expert at doing that as well, and he can definitely help you out with that. So let's go ahead and get him in here and get this show kicked off. Chef James, welcome to the show. Thank you. I know you're in the East Coast, so it's a little bit later over there for you, but thank you for taking time out of your day to come back to the Chicago Clubhouse.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me. It's always great to be back. I was here during the off season, the preseason, came in, we talked some running backs, and we saw some of the fruit of that labor happen this weekend with Raheem Mostert. So I'm happy to be back and happy to talk about things. I was just listening in the pre-show warm-up that you did there. You said you're going up against your co-host in two leagues?
Correct. Yeah. We're facing each other, this 2 times in the same week. So in 2 different leagues, we're against each other this week. So oof. I don't know how that happened. That's funny how that happened. It's just
let me ask. You didn't go full tilt. You didn't say who was winning and what you needed to happen, or did you take an L and that's why you needed a replacement this week?
I did not. I took 1 L. We ended up splitting that match.
Okay, so, that's fair. That's fair.
So he did have somebody going tonight if needed, but in that particular league, it's not needed. Like I said, I had too many Chicago players going. I went with the little homer love there with Caleb Williams. and Komet and stuff, and it just did not work out. That whole offense completely got shut down. I think it's fair to say that Cliff Kingsbury definitely gave the defense of Washington some heads up of, hey, this is what the guy likes to do. This is what he doesn't like to do. Because I think he only had 33 yards going into the third quarter. So definitely struggled in that game. Anybody that started Caleb probably struggled to win just like I did. So
It was definitely not what I expected. And the ending was the icing on the cake for the way the game went all in all. I did have
yeah.
your Bears winning that game, covering the spread. I was just I was fine with it. Like, hey, we push, we'd be fine. No, like that's why it's any given Sunday, anything can happen. Um,
Yeah.
and maybe Jaden Daniels is actually special.
Yeah.
That's the real thing. Like maybe he is the real deal. Maybe he is so into football that we didn't even know about it. Maybe he's been watching Aaron Rodgers, uh, throw Hail Marys over and over and over and over again in his spare time. Like we don't
Right.
know. We don't know. I'm not that intimate with Jaden Daniels. I don't
Right.
know
Right.
every last little tidbit about him, but it sure as hell looks like that he is definitely he's going to be a great quarterback. He is a
Yeah. I
great.
think it's safe to say. Yeah, him having that extra time in college to kind of sharpen and hone in his skills is really kind of showing here, at least at the beginning part of his NFL career. So he's really hitting the ground running, starting his NFL career here. And of course, like I said, it helps to have an offensive coordinator that knows what your strengths are and plays to your strengths and doesn't try to make you do something that you're not comfortable doing and stuff. So not to say that that's really going on completely with Chicago, but it's obvious that that offense was not running nearly as well as it had been the last 2 weeks or so. So, but with all that out of the way, good evening, Janet. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for the comment. Let's go ahead and take a look at who got injured this week and who maybe we need to go after. So to start it off here, we have Christian Kirk, broken clavicle. It looks like he will be out for the season. I would say that would kind of give a bump up to Brian Thomas Jr., who has been having a pretty good rookie season, but he's also on this injuries list as well. Looks like his chest, got a pain in his chest, and he's going to be out for at least maybe 2 to 4 weeks. So they're expecting at the longest week 12 he would be back. So for the Jaguars there, does that give a big bump up to Evan Ingram, you think, or is there any other receivers on that team that you see stepping up in place of those two guys? Maybe
I
Gabe.
mean, I think Gabe Davis is like one of the only ones left that
Yeah.
I would actually trust. But do you really trust him in that offense? Like he hasn't had any targets. I don't know if he was injured previously or not. Did he even play last week?
Yeah, he did. I know he's broke out during the Bears game in London. He had 2 touchdown catches in that game.
Right. And then I didn't
So
see anything this week out of Gabe Davis. So that makes me wonder what the heck is going on with Gabe Davis. It's bad for Trevor Lawrence. It's bad for the franchise. Uh, they need a full reset. Maybe Doug Peterson's not the answer.
maybe, yeah. I mean,
Um,
how long do you give them, really? You know what I mean? And
until they
then
go to
everything
until they move the team to Europe.
right, right.
You
I mean,
know?
it's very possible, very
They're
possible.
working on it. Yeah, I mean, Evan Ingram will get a bump. I don't necessarily want to play him against the Eagles defense. They are number one against
Yeah.
fantasy tight ends. They'll focus on him.
Okay.
I really haven't looked at the depth of of uh
Jacksonville.
of Jacksonville like that. I don't know. Let's see. Tim, you're talking Parker Washington. Like, there's nobody. Maybe they run more 12 personnel and put Bretton Strange out there more. I don't know.
Wasn't Strange maybe at the other tight end. Maybe they do some more 2 tight end sets. I'm not sure how much of that is really in their offensive schemes.
But Evan Ingram definitely is going to get a bump of some sort.
I mean, I know he's having a terrible season, but Travis Etienne, wasn't he known as a somewhat good route runner for being a running back?
Yeah.
And stuff.
I
know,
mean,
like
he
I
can
said,
catch
his
the ball.
NFL career is
He was
definitely not
always
going
a
to
good pass catcher, if my memory serves me correctly. But he's been out too. Dearness Johnson's been in, and Tank Bigsby has had the head roll, and it's not working. The offense is not working at all. They're stalling out. Like,
right.
I mean, I get it. They had a good game up against.
Granted, they almost did come back to win against Green Bay.
Yeah, they had a decent game, which important for teams going up against Green Bay moving forward. Jair Alexander, he got a big injury this week.
Yeah, he's always been in and out of the lineup though. Jair, like it seems like he's good for 2 or 3 weeks, and then something's happened and he misses a week or so. So I mean, as effective as he is as a corner, he's just not too reliable, it seems like. So
yeah,
let's go ahead and another big injury. Stephon Diggs injured his knee. It's still to be determined, but he could also be possibly out for the season if that knee injury is as bad as they think it is. I think the obvious pickup there would be Diggs. No, I'm sorry, not Diggs. Tank Dell would be a good guy to kind of pick up there, or expect a bump up into production. And then maybe even the tight end, Dalton Schultz, should get a bump up in production. Receiver-wise, like I said, with their main guy already being out, Nico Collins, losing Diggs now is just now really going to put a hamper on the Houston's playoff run there, and even Stroud's development and stuff.
Well, I'm not too concerned about it. They've got one more game against the Jets with Nico Collins out, right? And then there's been reports saying that he was going to come out strong. He looks good in his rehab. He's on schedule. So I'm happy with that news. I have Nico Collins in all my redraft.
Okay. So you definitely need that.
Yeah. It's been a struggle. Like, you talk about co-host battles. I was going up against Swanson this week in our league of record. And he made all these kind of crazy trades before this week. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. The guy is 2-5. All right. He's had a really bad go at it. He made all these trades and comes out and wallops me.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wallops me. Well, granted.
Whole new team.
Oh, yeah. Jordan Love had a really bad day. All right.
Yes.
And if I would have played Bo Nix over Jordan Love, I would have beat him. But hey,
Gotcha.
That's how it goes. And we'll talk about it all day next week.
Yeah. And I think that kind of been, that may have been one of the situations in my league too. If I needed to switch Caleb with Joe Burrow and then get
the woulda, coulda, shoulda, the shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah. But then at the same point, I mean, I'm sure that he could, if he would have been able to swap off a few guys, a player or two on his lineup, it would have bumped up his score even more too. So
I mean, but back to the Stephon Diggs thing, I think Mixon will get a bump. I mean, you'll definitely see more checkdowns. Maybe him lining up outside as a wide receiver a little bit more. Robert Woods is still in there. John Mechie is another player, another guy. Okay. Xavier Hutchinson. These are all guys that are low end dart throws. So it's really Tank Dell and Nico Collins.
Yeah, this is definitely Mechie's opportunity to kind of do something. I remember him being somewhat of a name 3 years ago coming out in the draft, a second round, third round guy. And
he was
that had a lot of
diagnosed
potential.
with leukemia.
Yeah, and then that real life shit happens, and then you're
fought
worried
it,
more
and he's
about
back, which is awesome.
Yeah. Like I said, his second chance there of trying to make a better name or a bigger name, a more established name that I'm sure that he wanted to do from the beginning. So let's see if he can do anything with it. Going on, we have Mason. Jordan Mason re-injured his shoulder there with San Francisco. He's expected to be out till week 12. But if things all kind of go right, maybe someone like Christian McCaffrey will kind of come back and play his first game. Maybe. So, but we'll have to wait and see. If not, then we'll definitely have to get San Francisco's backup running back there as well. If CMC is not able to go.
I would definitely go out and see if Isaac Guerrero is on your waiver wire moving in like tomorrow morning when you guys wake up, you listen to the show, or you're watching us live, you better go check. He was, if I am not mistaken, on Sleeper where where I play a lot of. No, I didn't write him down here, but he was like at 46% going into this week. So he may be available. And he's the guy you want just in case. It's almost the insurance policy. Who knows? They're going into a bye week anyway. So you're really not going to look to spend too much fab. The news on CMC was released today that they are possibly going to open up the 21-day window. I think they have to, right? Or otherwise they have to claim that
they do.
Done for the season.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. So their hands kind of being forced there a little. So we'll know real soon on Christian McCaffrey if he's going to have any kind of chance of coming and playing at all this season. If not, then that just really did become a complete waste for anybody that drafted him number 1 or even, in the first round. So hopefully that's not the case, but we'll see. Also in that game, we had Deebo Samuels. He has some injured ribs. Ribs are always tricky to deal with. They're expecting him week 10 possibly. So maybe after that bye week that we were talking about. DJ Moore is to be determined. He had some sore ribs as well. I don't think it's anything too serious. We had Jordan Love going out with that groin injury. It's still to be determined. I haven't really heard any information on that. Have you heard any updates on Love at all?
I have not. It's a strained groin. He went on MRI and that's it. That's what it is. He's considered day to day. I mean, obviously he's going to receive some treatment. That's all I've got on him. He could be back for week 9, maybe.
Yeah, unfortunately, like I said, it's
they
everybody
need
else
him.
Gonna feel
it's the big divisional matchup against the Lions.
Yeah,
they
definitely do need them. Willis has been serviceable. He's been okay, but he's not
up against the Lions. No,
numbers,
they need Jordan Love, but they also need Jordan Love 100%. So I don't expect him to practice much this week leading up to that game. I don't know what time.
Then 52 against Minnesota.
Yeah. I mean, the Lions are awesome. That's for sure. You having some technical difficulties over there?
Glitched out there at the end. What was the last thing you said? Yeah, a little bit.
Oh man, I said
I couldn't catch what you said at the end there.
Oh no, I didn't know what time. I didn't know if it was a Thursday night game or not. I didn't know the schedule for this week upcoming. That's what it was.
I think it was a Jets game. The Jets and I got to look that up real quick. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the Jets. Give me 1 second. And then some of the guys that didn't make it on that
Houston
list.
And the Jets.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah.
So anybody, like I said, that is looking to pick up one of those Houston receivers that needs somebody because guys that are on a bye or injuries, like I said, you may be desperate enough to have to get one of those two. So good luck to you. Some of the guys that wasn't able to make the list but did also have an injury. We had a concussion with Drake May, so he didn't finish the game. Jacoby ended up finishing that game, but May, depending on his concussion, maybe will miss a week or two, and then I believe that was more or less the major ones there. So here we go. Another loss for the Jets. Thank you, Manuel, for the comment. Yeah, I mean, the Jets, with that trade with Devontae Adams, it really didn't seem to fix any kind of problems at all. They're still having the same offensive line issues, and Rodgers still looks old. So going in, we're look at the bye weeks real quick coming up. We didn't have any bye weeks last week. Everybody was on schedule.
It's
there.
Weird how they had right in the middle of the season.
Yeah, it
What
really was.
Heck?
It really was. It was kind of
and then it amps up, and then there's like 6 teams in week 14. It's so weird.
Yeah, you think you could have had at least 2 of those teams there, go on week 8, but whatever. It's above my pay grade. So we have the Steelers and we have the 49ers that will be going on a bye. The Steelers are playing tonight on Monday Night Football. They're at halftime right now. It looks like in a few minutes they'll be coming back.
I think it's a tie ball game. Actually, I think I have it on in the background. I'm watching the World Series. I'm watching my Giants, and I'm talking fantasy football with my bud, the Crooked Commish. It's 9-9. Actually, they just started the second half. So,
all right, yeah, I need in some of my other leagues, the Chicago Clubhouse Podcast League, I'm going against George Pickens. So as long as he can keep getting those touchdowns negated, that definitely helps me because I'm not up by much. So hopefully, like I said, I'm trying to, it doesn't matter too much more that I'm doing. It's kind of out of reach. But nonetheless, like I said, those are the 2 teams that are on a bye on week 9. So please make sure you set your lineup accordingly. So real quick. Oh, here we got a question coming in. Why does the Steelers always play down to the other team's level? That's a great question.
I mean, both teams were making the same mistakes. They can't finish in the end zone. Like, there's just missed opportunities after missed opportunities. That's what's been going on. Like, Malik Neighbors missed that one, and then Pickens, that one got called back. Like, so who knows? Who knows? But good question.
Yeah, people.
They didn't play down to the Jets level last week. That's for sure.
Yeah, that is true.
If anything, Russell Wilson definitely upstaged Aaron Rodgers.
He did, and yeah, he really did. Russell Wilson, I think, surprised a lot of people on his level of play. I don't think not too many people were expecting him to still be able to kind of operate the offense as well as he did. But, like I said, in even tonight's game, the offense, even though they're not scoring too many points, they are still moving the ball a lot better, it seems like. Question I had for you. Yeah. Was that a touchdown catch? Or in your opinion here, that was a funky touchdown catch with
or would-be catch?
On the double tap on the same foot with Pickens.
No. Both feet in is the rule.
So 2 different feet in. 2 different
feet need to be in. All right.
Let us know in the chat. Did you think that was a catch? I mean, I know you can't change it, but just curious on what the general population, what they think. Would they because technically that was 2 feet in, but it was 2 of the same foot. Rarely ever see kind of a funky play like that happen. But like I said, at least I've never seen something like that in my lifetime of watching football. So
there's so many different things. The
there
helmet
really
catch
is.
For the Giants,
the butt fumble.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things.
Yeah. My favorite one, and just because it's going against Green Bay, is when you catch the guy that made the interception, and that's like or whatnot. It was a Seattle Green Bay game.
Oh, when DK Metcalf chased them down.
No. It was the one where it was like a Hail Mary play, and like the Seattle guy caught it, but it was a kind of tug of war between the Green Bay guy and the Seattle guy. And one guy's calling a touchdown, the other guy's calling an interception. And like at the end of the day, they ended up ruling saying it was an interception. So even though they both were tugging for it, so before we get a bit more into it and talking into it, the games, upcoming games, and kind of scenarios here. Let's go. I put together some highlights, so let's go ahead and take a quick look at the Crooked Commish's highlights for Week 8. So sit back and grab a Morse.
Gotta go to work.
On first down, Jahmyr Gibbs with an opening, and Gibbs with great speed down the sideline. Jahmyr Gibbs, one man to beat. He'll beat him. Touch. 2nd and 9. Richardson keeps it. Now steps up, looking deep. Has a wide open man. Josh Downs. Nobody in sight. And Downs will go. Touch.
Almost exclusively for play action pass.
Just got the snap off. Cousins rifle shot over the middle for Pitts. And Kyle Pitts gets loose again. And he's got his second.
On first down, Winston looking toward the end zone for the Njoku. What a grab!
On an 8 here for the Eagles. Fake it to Barkley. Hurts, sets, throws. Looking for the home run ball. End zone! Devontae Smith! Touch!
Lawrence looking, throws, end zone, going up to make the...
It's hard to communicate in a hurry.
Couple tight ends in this set. Nix throws off the arm strength.
Trouble with the run the last few weeks. They're looking a lot better.
Herbert, sideline throw, and the catch is made.
Wow.
It's Lad McConkey. He took it away from Alontae Taylor, and McConkey is in for...
To Swift. Look at Swift. Take it to the Washington side of the 50. Down the sideline he goes, and he's galloping home.
Hit throughout the rest of the game, and it's hurting more now.
Comes down to one last play. And it's going to be getting longer by the second. You're all the way back at the 30-yard line. Now you can step into it. Here comes the Hail Mary with the game on the line. And the ball is caught. Holy mackerel. That is football.
That was great. That was a great highlight reel.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Thanks for love always putting those highlights together, but I sure as hell didn't like watching that last ending highlight there. That was...
I mean, I was looking at Jaden Daniels and where his foot was and where he threw it from. That was pretty damn impressive.
Yeah. There was definitely some good touchdowns there, some good plays. Hopefully we showcased some of your fantasy football players scoring touchdowns there. Like I said, Devontae Smith, that touchdown, that definitely helped me out win one of my games against my co-host. So always love to see it. A few questions I kind of wanted to throw out at you,
Sure.
Kind of pick your brain. There's quite a decent amount of options, free agent options when it comes to quarterbacks, and some of these new quarterbacks, injuries, and then the buys coming up. If you needed a guy, would you feel more comfortable picking up? Would you rather pick up a Bo Nix or a famous Jameis type of scenario?
I think Jameis Winston has always been good for fantasy football. All right, you can't go wrong there. On the other side of it, Bo Nix has been playing pretty good football. I mean, what did he threw for what, 3 and ran in for 1 this week?
Yeah, let me pull up his numbers real quick, but
I'm pretty sure that's what it was. 3 and he scored 4 touchdowns in total. I mean, he threw the ball for 284. Yes, that was against Carolina. Is he going to do that against Baltimore?
Right.
Probably not. Not. But maybe. I mean, we saw Winston do it against a beat up Baltimore secondary, and they are missing pieces. I don't think it continues for too much longer. Whether or not it leads into next week with Bo Nix is a different story. On the other side of it, Jameis Winston, I mean,
he looked pretty comfortable in that offense, and he's got. I mean, Cedric Tillman is another guy that I was last few weeks there. He's kind of coming on as well, and maybe the guy that's going to take Amari Cooper's place.
all right. So the way I look at things is I look at it as you're going to say you're going to pick up, you're going to spend fab, you're going to drop a player. And it's always important about you think about before you drop a player what their playoff schedule is, and just leading up to the playoffs, where my team is. Like for instance, I was sitting pretty at 4-2, and I lost the past 2 games. Now I'm 4-4. Thank you, Swanson. But I think I'm gonna lean Bo Nix just for schedule purposes. All right.
Okay.
We know what Jameis has as far as weapons. Same thing with Nix. It's few and far between. But I think Nix has shown enough, and he has some big games coming up where I think he can score some points. Winston, on the other hand, first off, he plays the Chargers next week. All right. And then he has a bye. So automatically you lose 1 week there. And then you come back, you play New Orleans. But then you play Pittsburgh, Denver, Pittsburgh. That's a suicide run. That's a death wish.
Yeah. And
for any fantasy quarterback.
And I think that's one of the you leaning Bo Nix. I do like that and can't disagree with it too much. I think part of the reason to lean that way is the good defense that he does have. That defense being able to get 3 and outs or kind of give Bo Nix some shorter fields or give that offense, better opportunity to score. I kind of trust that defense better than I trust Cleveland's defense.
And if we watch Bo Nix, like he's gradually getting better as the season goes along.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty much, I've been on board since the offseason, since he was drafted to Denver, I believe 12th overall. I think it was brilliant for Sean Payton to go out there and do that, and it's going to pay dividends in the long run. If you play Dynasty, I really like a buy low on Bo Nix while it's still available. Maybe not right now if he's the QB9 in your league.
Okay. On the receiver end here, I wanted to kind of ask you. We have Cedric Tillman here. Like I said, I brought him up. He's had 2 back-to-back really good weeks since Winston's been up. He has an 18-point game against Cincinnati, and then against Baltimore, he had a 28-point game. So he's looking really hot. But then we also have Ricky Pearsall as well with San Francisco. He's starting to get more involved in the offense. This had a 10-point game this last game here. Between those two, who do you think or trust more going further is more reliable if you had to pick one of those 2 guys up?
I think they're going to work Pearsall into the lineup. You'll see him more on 3 wide receiver sets if they need to stretch the field. Juwan Jennings is what, day to day, and he should be coming back hopefully in a week or so. So I think you get some time out of Pearsall, but I really like Cedric Tillman, and I think Jameis Winston unlocked Cedric Tillman. I've been waiting for Cedric Tillman since he was drafted to the Browns, and I was like, oh wow, he's a great wide receiver. Okay, he came out, he stayed 1 year later than Jalen Hyatt in Tennessee.
Okay.
And they were both great wide receivers. He was injured his last year of college. Okay. So he got a low draft grade. He is a great wide receiver. He reminds me of Amari Cooper, believe it or not.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Interesting comp. What do you call it?
Go figure. But he's trapped on the Browns, so who knows the next time they get a decent quarterback. I mean, they should stick with Jameis, in my opinion. He's young. He's only 30 years old. He can play the offense, and he takes shots down the field, which is great for fantasy.
How much of your fab would you feel comfortable spending on him?
On Cedric Tillman?
Yeah.
On Sunday morning, he was 22% rostered on Sleeper, and I told everybody to rush and pick him up. Now I don't know. It's going to be that, supply and demand sort of thing. It was a hot commodity in a lot of my leagues.
Okay.
I got some sharks, but but when I saw it on 22% on Sunday morning, it gives me some hope that some people didn't go out and pick him up. He might be available on your league, and if he is, depending on how desperate you are, I mean, I would be comfortable spending at least 15% of my fab, depending. Like, you could have been the Stephon Diggs owner, and you need a solid flex wide receiver. That's what Cedric Tillman is. He has wide receiver 2 upside. He actually, Winston has made a lot of wide receivers really, really good for fantasy. And he's doing it again here with Cedric Tillman. Cedric Tillman's just young. And like I said, the schedule's not very good. It's not in his favor. I mean, he's going to see Patrick Surtain. He's going to see Joey Porter back to back to back. So it's ugly. It opens up at the end, but not too favorable. Yeah. So I'm not spending way too much. Maybe let somebody else spend on them and see who they drop, because it's that time of the year,
Okay. Yeah. I know. I mean, it kind of happened with me this past week. I had to pick up a defense, and I thought I could get away, and I dropped Keenan Allen just because he really hadn't been doing too much. He had that one good game, but somebody Sunday morning snuck in right before then and picked him up. So I completely ended. Yeah, I know. It was kind of a hard pill to swallow.
I would always drop my other defense, or just take the goose egg, depending on your league scoring. Like, I got rid of defenses in my last league that I was in, and I'm like, it's like a breath of fresh air. Unless you're playing like, I'm in one IDP league, which it's individual defensive players, and it is crazy. Like, we need probably 10 defensive players on a weekly basis. Wow. So I have TJ Watt going right now. I have Alex Highsmith going right now. I keep asking for Kayvon Thibodeau, but the guy will not budge.
I've never played in one of those. How much more different is it playing with defensive players instead of just drafting a whole defensive unit?
Well, it's great in the fact that, there's highlights. There's a lot more highlight, like, especially if you have, like, I have my team is stacked. I have Nick Bosa, TJ Watt, Will Stingley. I have a bunch of people, but anyway,
just the whole aspect. I'm just kind of thinking of, like,
it's
that's such another layer of drafting.
Yeah, so we
like,
have
when do I get a defensive guy? When do I get a
It's an auction. Like, we have an auction draft as well.
Okay.
So so there's a free agent pool. It's a contract league. It's very complex. It has a lot of different rules. I got into it. A good friend of mine who co-hosted the Dynasty Happy Hour with. He runs it. Tyler Gunther. He's it's a fun league. It's a lot though. It's a lot harder, but it can be a lot of fun because the defensive players wind up scoring more than anybody else on the field sometimes. Like TJ Watt, if he has like 5-6 sacks and like a strip sack for a fumble recovery, or he scores a defensive touchdown, oh man, the points are bananas when it comes to that. So that's the exciting part. Like, you're never really out of it if you have a good defensive players. Yeah.
So how many defensive players do you start at one time, at a week and stuff? Is it 2, 3, and then you're
it's probably about 8. I want to say there's about 8 realistically every week. I know we have to have 2.
So just a 1 QB?
No. It's a super flex league. So we have to play 2. Okay. We have to play 2 quarterbacks. We have to play at least 2 running backs. We have to play at least 3 receivers. You have to play at least 1 tight end. It's tight end premium. I have Brock Bowers, by the way.
Oh, nice pickup. I got him.
And Dalton Schultz, so that Stephon Diggs injury kind of helps. I can double stack if I have to.
Potential. Yep.
But then we have to play I think 2 linebackers, 2 edge rushers,
Okay.
2 and then like 2 like either cornerbacks or safeties. But you could
Okay.
play more, like it's fun, man. It's a lot of fun. I have like Deron Payne. I have a couple different guys that it's been
Okay.
fun rostering. It's
Very cool.
different side.
Yeah, that sounds different for sure. Like I said, I've never played in a league like that. I've always just been the traditional way of, you just draft your defense and your defensive unit. So to do that and draft defensive players, like I said, that's a whole nother ball game of having to think about that. Not necessarily what defensive players even to get, but at what rounds do you get, this defensive player compared to this offensive player?
So to put it in perspective, I drafted Will Anderson in the 3rd round.
Oh, okay.
All right. I got lucky. I got him in the 3rd.
Okay. And he's been having a pretty solid season so far.
He's having a pretty solid season. Yeah. I mean, we have big rosters. It's like I said, it's a complex league. It's a contract league where you have to you have to pay each player you roster a salary. So it's pretty wild.
Right.
Yeah, it's about as close as you can get to owning your own NFL franchise if you want to think about it that way, but it's with fantasy scoring.
Interesting. So they all get a check in the mail from you guys, for like a couple of dollars here. That you're.
Oh yeah. And then we have the choice to extend the contract. But if you extend the contract, you have to double the contract.
Oh shit! All right. Like I said,
yeah. So I have Tyreek Hill on my roster, for example. I paid $75 for him at auction, so I have to pay him $75 a season. And wow. I have him, and you could set the length of the contract. So I have him for 3 years. This is his 2nd year of 3. And I'm like, oh man, I am not keeping him for another year. I don't need to. Boom, he gets an extension with the Dolphins. And I'm like, oh man, now I really got to think about this extension and who I have to drop. It's just crazy.
Yeah, a lot of different aspects as well. What's going on, Keith? Thank you for joining us. Yeah, it's not as wild as we'd had that. I told you about that as well. We had
but that's just a barren. That's just a barren team. 32 teams. I mean, like who are you playing?
I mean, it's the way it was the lineup was set up. You're starting just one of every position, so just one quarterback, one running back, one tight end, and one receiver.
Okay, I
and
get
whatnot
that.
to kind of.
I was in a 14-team league. That's the biggest I've ever been in, and it was like I forget how they called it. It was like a Premier League where they do it like there's like 6 lower tier and then 8 higher tier teams, and you have to win to get into. You have to win the lower tier to get into the higher tier, and the higher tier is where the money's at.
Gotcha. That's different as well. That's a little different. I mean. It ain't for the week. That's for that goddamn.
No,
sure.
And these are all dynasty leagues. They go year to year.
Okay.
Like you don't change. You could trade your players, obviously, and stuff. But
yeah. So let's see. A few more questions I just kind of wanted to run by you before we go ahead and wrap up the show. As far as receivers and whatnot. In the free agent list, it looks like in Yahoo leagues, he's only rostered in about 41% of leagues. And then we have another rookie out there that's really not rostered in any leagues at all. Jalen Coker from Carolina. Which one of those two? I'm not sure if you've seen familiar with him too much, but is there any way at all that you can really trust anybody from Carolina? I do hear that Deontay Johnson is possibly on his way out from Carolina, so that could open up the door for the rookie as well. Do you feel comfortable at all starting any type of Carolina Panther player?
Only as a spot start in a good matchup. I'm a big fan of Xavier Legette. He got a little chipped up this week too. So
Yes.
I'm a little interested. He came down hard on his foot or something like that, but I did see him enter back into the game. So we'll see. We'll see the answer with that. But yeah, he's interesting. I don't really trust too many though. And if Johnson is gone, then yeah, he's going to be a hot commodity. I would pick him up now. Deontay Johnson gets traded. You sell Xavier Legette maybe for something better. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean,
trade bait.
Like I said, I know that trade deadline is coming up. I think usually around that midweek of November is a fantasy trade line in most leagues. I mean, of course, every league is different as well. Here's another question kind of coming in. Good one. D-Hop was recently traded to the Kansas City Chiefs. How effective or how big of a production do you see that happening for him going over there to the Chiefs?
I mean, we didn't see much of him in his first week, right?
Yeah.
We knew that was going to happen.
Yeah.
How productive is he going to be? I mean, I think I think he's the decoy in the system, the guy that they need to draw some coverage away to open up doors for other players. I think the defenses they set up for Travis Kelce. That's why we really haven't seen Travis Kelce break out unless it's tight end day.
Well, yeah, he finally had a touchdown. I think
every tight end in the league had a touchdown, and yeah, I see you, Keith, like a decoy. Yes, like a decoy. Correct. He's always been a decoy. He's been in there. He's been a decoy on every single team he's ever been on.
Besides
he goes
Houston?
in there. I mean, even when he was with Houston, he was somewhat of a decoy.
Okay.
It doesn't make a difference. Like he was on Tennessee, he didn't do much. He was a decoy. He was something flashy, but I think that defenses can respect him enough to open up doors for Xavier Worthy, to open up more doors for Travis Kelce, Noah Gray.
Okay. He's definitely been coming on as a tight end as well. Just taking more and more of that role away from Travis Kelce each week, it seems like. So
it's just another weapon for Patrick Mahomes. I think he can. No, not really. But it really is just another weapon for Patrick Mahomes. How involved he's going to be in the offense is yet to be seen. He spreads the ball around a lot, and Patrick Mahomes hasn't been throwing the ball a lot. So who's to say that it's really going to make much of a difference at all?
It does seem like around the goal line, instead of looking for Kelce like they normally have been, it's been Kareem Hunt time, more or less. So Hunt has been getting more and more involved in that offense, and does seem like the main guy there to go after. If you're going to have any guy in Kansas City, I think I would want to have Hunt. I mean, besides Mahomes, but even Mahomes this year, fantasy-wise, he's really been struggling. He hasn't been putting up the years that we're all used to and stuff. So
I mean, don't hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying don't go out there and pick up DeAndre Hopkins. Okay, you can do that. He's got a good matchup coming up against Tampa Bay. All right, they could release him out there and give him a full workload, at least 70% of the snaps. He could walk away with 7 for 75 and a touchdown, and you'd be really happy. And his value would shoot through the ceiling for fantasy football, along with Patrick Mahomes right now.
Would he be someone at all that you'd be possibly get interested in trading for on the cheap before that game type of happens? Or
I think you might have missed your window.
Okay,
you might have missed your window if you don't have him. If he's available on Keith's waiver wire. I mean, Keith can go out there and try to pick him up if he has a good game against Tampa Bay. You try to flip him for something else or package him with something else.
Right.
Oh, they got Hollywood Brown. Come on, man. I mean,
next season.
Yeah, that's next season. They're just trying to make up for it. You know what I mean? They don't have to they're just trying to get by. They're trying to get to that next Super Bowl. I think Hollywood Brown is dead, by the way.
Fantasy wise, that is. Of course. Of course. We joke around. We call him Hoboken Brown.
here in New Jersey. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
he's not
Interesting.
Hollywood anymore.
Haven't heard that before. Yeah, I mean, well, he hasn't been too flashy, here in the last few years at all. So nothing to really brag about. Well, we are coming up to the hour mark. Let me go ahead and play a quick commercial break real quick. And then after that, just any kind of last minute information, tell the people where they'll be able to find you guys out as well. So
Sweet.
hang with us. We're going to play a quick commercial break and then kind of give our last final thoughts of the evening, guys.
When high standards prevailed, when excellent craftsmanship was displayed and treated with the utmost importance. Acquire the crisp, refreshing taste of Moore's Beer. Moore's Beer. Raise your standards.
Thank you to our sponsors, Moore's Beer, In the Zone, Hughes, and Fantasy Jocks. We really do appreciate any and all the sponsorships we get. And just like we do appreciate any and all views and comments that we get. Thank you guys for joining us. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe to us. And please go ahead and check out my co-host, Chef James. Like I said, if you need help setting up your lineup, his show and his group of guys there on Sunday mornings before the games get kicked off will help you set your lineups, give you any kind of suggestions at all. Go ahead and drop them in the comments, and they will go ahead and help you guys out and give you their thoughts. James, is there any kind of last minute guys that maybe we didn't talk about that maybe you would like to touch on that I didn't bring up? Anyone in maybe is someone like Dalvin Cook, is he even worth trying to go after at all, with Dallas or
I picked up Dalvin Cook prior to the games yesterday, just in case, and I did not expect Rico Dowdle to be out of that game at all. But I saw that they elevated Dalvin Cook, and I said, ooh, maybe it's an opportunity to really buy low, $0 fab bid. I think we may look at a three-headed backfield moving forward. Zeke looked kind of comfortable back there for once. We finally saw him break one for more than 10 yards. So who knows? It's a dangerous situation that I really don't trust either way, that you weren't getting too much out of Dowdle anyway to really write home about, that I was really impressed with. I mean, the team that I would go up and get, maybe Matthew Stafford is a nice little streaming option moving forward.
Okay.
We saw what happened with Puka and Cooper Kupp back in the lineup. It looked great. It looked refreshed.
So let me ask you another either or here. Between Stafford or someone like Anthony Richardson, or even a Tua. If a lot of people dropped Tua because of his concussion, he came back, looked fine. Between those three of Stafford, Anthony Richardson, and Tua, who would you feel more comfortable if you had to kind of stick with them, throughout this rest of the season?
For the rest of the season,
yeah, not a starter, a spot guy, but someone.
All right, so you're saying rest of the
someone
season.
Someone that would at least you can rely on a little bit more.
I mean,
let's go out with the bang.
If I had to think about it, I am going to say Matthew Stafford. All right, I can't trust Anthony Richardson. No one can trust Anthony Richardson. He's peaks and valleys, man. He really is. All right. I loved him coming out of college, but it was my rookie scouting note saying he runs reckless down the field. He can't do that in the NFL. He's going to get hurt. And sure enough, 2 seasons in a row, he's been hurt. So, yes, he's got a hell of an arm. He is unpolished, but I'm not sticking with him for the rest of the season. I guess Tua would be my second in this order. And the reason being that we already saw him go out. There is a lot more injury risk there with Tua, I think. That could really hurt your schedule. I mean, the schedule for him, playoffs, Jets, Houston, San Francisco. I mean, that's pretty tough.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Stafford, he's got his weapons back. And we saw it looked like the regular Rams team that went on that run last year.
Yeah. They were definitely firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, so it's going to be exciting. I'm excited for Puka Nacua once again. If you have him, if you held him, if you had an IR spot, you were able to stash him. Like, good for you. I didn't draft him anywhere. I couldn't get him. He was a hot commodity going at the end of the first round.
Yeah, he was. Like I said, it was definitely a bummer that he went down so early, but it's nice to see him coming back into the fold and him not taking or having any kind of rust on him, taking a few games to get warmed up, hit the ground running. Him and Cup, it was almost 2 peas in a pod. Like they never missed any time. They just kind of went right back picked up where they left off. But with that all being said, we'll go ahead and wrap up the show tonight. Thank you, Chef James, for joining me this evening and being a substitute. Like I said, I really couldn't stand looking at my co-host. To play him 2 times this week. You're a good man for that. Please plug yourself, plug your show. Let the good people here at the Chicago Clubhouse know where they can find you.
Oh, yeah. Like the Crooked Commish said, you can check me out on the X app at FF_chef. You can check out our page at The Tilt is Real, at The Tilt is Real, over on X, Facebook. We're out there. And then obviously on YouTube, Sunday mornings live, 10 a.m., the Fantasy Football Sunday Tilt. Live start sit, commercial free. You may catch the Crooked Commish hopping on week in, week out. Thank you for your help, by the way, with that. And, I always like to repay the favor and come on your show as well. So that's always fun. And thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely. I always love being a substitute tilter over there with you guys. The tilt is always real over there. We have some tough questions that we get thrown our way over there.
Always tough. Always tough. They keep it tough.
Yes. That's why we call it the tilt squad over there. But we just like the NFL teams, you never want an easy matchup. You want the best of the best to kind of see what you have there. So we need those tough questions. They need those tough questions, and they like getting those tough questions. So send them their way, guys, if you have any. So thank you again, like I said, for everyone that joined us. Keith, thank you for the comments. Janin, thank you for the comments. We had also who was it? The Iron Skillet Media. Thank you for chiming in and dropping a like and a comment. Manuel as well. Thank you for dropping a comment and a like. Hopefully, guys, take care. Remember the time zone. There is a time zone difference, so the games will be starting a little different depending on where you're at. I know here in Arizona, I'm used to starting at 10, but now they will be starting at 11 o'clock for me. So. Remember that. Tune in, all any Chicago Bears fans. Tomorrow is the main show with T-Nick, JB, Frank the Tank, and Foulmouth Chris. Have a hell of a lot to talk about with that Bears game and how the hell it ended. Wasn't fun at all. So tune into that. We also have the Bull Spit coming on Thursday nights now that the Bull season has tipped off. Not much to talk about so far with the Bull season. But still, check us out. And, of course, nothing else. We have the Bears pregame show playing against the Cardinals on Sunday. That will be at regular time with the morning games. because I'm going to be going to that game, going to be tailgating and whatnot. I want to try and get out there as soon as I can. So that will be coming on with the normal games there. So like I said, with that all being said, thank you again for joining us. Thank you to Chef James from the Tilt Squad. We really do appreciate it. Remember, guys, if you cannot be good, well, damn it, at least be good at it.
You got to decide whether you're a wolf or a sheep.
This has been a Chicago Clubhouse Network production.
And now it's all over.